I was very touched to hear that the last time a president visited these premises, it was in 1969. That was the year I was born. And I'm very pleased this day to accompany the second president to visit these premises as a Minister for Justice and also as an officer of this court. Having practiced law here for many years, I had never seen a president along these corridors. Indeed, Mr. President, we're very privileged to have you here today. We are also very grateful that the Chief Justice and the entire judiciary could have found time to honor a man who has dedicated over 50 years of his life to public service. A man whom, when history is written, it shall be said, left his mark.
Now, everyone who occupies the office of the Chief Justice is instantly made aware of a hotline in his office that only receives calls from the State House. Previously, this telephone line was connected to a red handset, perhaps signifying danger, and only rang when there were presidential instructions to be transmitted. In the 21st month that I've been Chief Justice, I'm happy to report to all the judges here and the entire country that the hotline never rang. I congratulate you, Mr. President, for never picking up that telephone, regardless of how you felt about matters that were being handled in the judiciary. I believe that the relationship between the judiciary and the executive has never been one of instructing one another, but rather of pulling together when the national duty demands it. I just want also to say the person who showed me the hotline pointed at President Kibaki's photograph at the background, and they told me he is Simone ya mwenyewe. So,
he is a respecter of institutions and the constitutional doctrine of separation of powers. During my tenure in Parliament, the legislature had a very cordial relationship with the executive. Even when Parliament seemed to be pushing the executive a little hard in the exercise of its oversight duties, I did not sense any expression of discomfort on the part of His Excellency President Kibaki. Your Excellency, I congratulate you for that resilience, true of progressive leadership.
A British statesman, Benjamin Disraeli, once said that the legacy of heroes lies not just in a name, but in a great example that they leave behind. When history is written, Your Excellency, they will have a hard time as historians to say which was your greatest legacy. There will be those who will say probably the introduction of free primary education and the enabling of millions of young Kenyans, particularly from poor families, to access education was your greatest legacy. There will be those who will say perhaps the phenomenal infrastructural development that this country saw in the last 10 years was your greatest legacy. But if I was asked, Your Excellency, I would say the promulgation of the new constitution and the renewal of the institutions we celebrate today was and will remain one of the greatest legacies of your presidency.
Adoption of our new constitution in 2010 ushered in a new governance structure with a bicameral parliament, an independent judiciary, county governments, and more accountable executive. In the past few years, Kenyans have witnessed the reform of our judiciary. I commend the Chief Justice for the work he has done in the reform process. Since taking office, the team at the Judiciary has proactively instituted measures to enhance service, delivery, and administration of justice. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the last few weeks, the attention of the country and the world was focused on our judiciary as it received and heard the presidential election petitions. I congratulate you for handling all parties with utmost respect, adhering to the constitutional timelines set for hearing and determining petitions, and for maintaining your independence and professionalism.
The courage with which you delivered your judgment on Saturday last week is monumental and will go into the annals of our history as a great occasion when the judiciary vindicated itself. Even as a lawyer, I am satisfied that you delivered justice, except, of course, for my transitional anxiety, wanting to find what the ratio des genti was.